On.
What's going on, everybody? We're back with another Coast to Coast podcast. This time we got something a little bit different for you guys. We're starting a new series, basically taking inspiration from the podfather himself, Bill Simmons, and doing a redraftable series where we're going back, starting with this draft, 2011, then we'll be going through 2012, 2013, probably all the way to, maybe like 2018 or so. Once you get there, it's like there's still a lot of guys that are still, kind of writing their stories, whatnot. It's kind of still hard to judge, but we're just going to be redrafting them and just getting into a lot of what if scenarios. And I think this series is going to be super fun. So yeah, a pretty stacked draft at the top. I mean, there's four mega all-star superstar caliber players in here, and a really solid draft overall. So yeah, I think let's just get right into it. So all right, so who's the first pick? Is that Jose?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jose's got the first pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who originally took Kyrie. Who would you redraft now, knowing what we know now with the first pick?
I mean, knowing what we know now, a big part of me definitely wanted to still take Kyrie. I think he was a great fit on their team. Obviously, hit one of the biggest shots for them in history, won them that championship alongside LeBron. But I think knowing what we know now, Kawhi Leonard is a better player in today's NBA. I'm not saying that Kyrie's bad or anything, but I just think Kawhi is more of like a player that they could have built around better than Kyrie. So, I'm going Kawhi Leonard.
Does LeBron return to Cleveland, though? That's the thing. That changes a whole lot of things. Because LeBron playing alongside a guy that plays the same position to him, LeBron would probably play point guard. Then they'd have Kawhi there at the 3, and then they have Kevin Love. Would they be a better team? Would they beat the Warriors in 2016? Would they win more championships against them, with a guy that can guard Kevin Durant? What do you guys think about that?
I don't know if
you go first, Jose.
Yeah, I don't know if LeBron ends up coming back. And if he does, maybe they end up, packaging Kyrie in a similar way that they packaged Wiggins. To kind of rebuild the team to fit around LeBron better, maybe for like a shooter or a more like shot creating guard that can fit next to LeBron. So I don't know. I don't know if Kawhi and LeBron ever end up playing together in Cleveland.
I'm not okay. Well, let's say LeBron did. I think it probably would have been just as good of a team, maybe slightly worse just because Kawhi's still really good on offense, but not Kyrie level offense. But on the contrary, you get you're getting defensive player of the year, Kawhi, next to LeBron, who when LeBron is on is one of the best defenders as well. And I think that just would have been scary. Those two, clamping up the two next best players on the opposite team just would have been scary. And I think Kawhi probably would have, developed his offensive game a little bit faster. But I don't know, just two different teams. You're getting slightly worse, offense. And much more elite defense versus much more elite shot creation and scoring. It would have been so interesting, Kawhi and LeBron, just that would have been insane on the defensive end, watching both of those guys, just freak athletes.
Yeah.
Real quick with Cleveland, it's just crazy, the crazy what if scenario. I mean, they had the first pick and then they also had the fourth pick. Which, they still got Kyrie. And then, imagine if they would have got Kyrie and Kawhi or Jimmy Butler or Klay. It just would have been insane. And then the next year they had the fourth pick and they had Dame Lillard on the board. It just could have been a super team just waiting to be formed. Because I feel I don't know. I mean, I feel like LeBron was going to come back to Cleveland regardless. I think that was always kind of the narrative with him. He just wanted to come and win a championship for Cleveland. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Kyrie was the deciding factor. But I don't know. You guys got anything else about this first pick? I would have picked Kawhi too. That was my pick.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. I mean, it's only thing is how it changes the rest of the story. But like you said, you probably get Kawhi and LeBron, and then you wouldn't bring Kevin Love in. You'd bring in, like you said, another guy. But then again, probably they still wouldn't bring in or does Kawhi even develop? Because with Popovich probably molded this guy to what he is, and he was able to be a fourth option on that. Actually, almost a fourth option on those championship Spurs teams until he was, finally took the lead. But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, Kawhi, the only guy in this draft that was like the best guy in a title team. So that's why I put him one. But next pick is me. I got Minnesota. They took Derek Williams here. Pretty massive bust, honestly. He was a freak in college.
Crazy in college. Arizona.
He was a freak in college. But sadly just didn't pan out. So we already talked about him. I'm gonna take Kyrie. This would have been a very fun, interesting team because Kyrie and K Love would have been together, and this is like prime Kevin Love, like monster on the glass, like 24, 25 points a game, prime Kevin Love.
Yeah.
They had young Rubio, Pekovic was a solid center. So yeah, I gotta go Kyrie. It's Kyrie, 7-time All-Star. He's second in total points in the class and second in total assists, third in win shares. Arguably hit the greatest shot in NBA history, and it would have been a fun Timberwolves team. Probably like an 8th seed at best, but still would have been fun to see him and prime K Love as a duo, early. So yeah, I'm going with Kyrie with the second pick.
At this point, did they still have Rubio and Flynn?
Yeah.
That would I want to see.
Flynn
would have been a bust by then.
Yeah. Well, Flynn got in like a freak accident. He might have already been done.
Yeah.
But I think Rubio and Kyrie could easily play together because Rubio's like pass first.
Oh no, Flynn was on the Trailblazers that next season. So
okay. No. Shout out the Blazers.
Shout out the Blazers. Got cooked tonight, unfortunately, but hey, it's all good. All right. So I'll move on. I got pick 3. Pick 3, Enes Kanter went there. Solid guy. Obviously, he ended up getting replaced by Rudy Gobert. But this Jazz team is stacked. Like, honestly, the potential that they got. So, starting, into the offseason, they had traded Darren Williams to the Nets in exchange. They got some draft picks, and they also got Devin Harris, who's a solid point guard who was an all-star at the time. But with hindsight, we know that Gordon Hayward's going to develop into a 20-point per game scorer. I think they should have done more to keep Al Jefferson around. And I think, if they knew what was going on, we'll just, you got Andre Karolinko, you got Derek Favors, Paul Millsap, Al Jefferson, such a stacked team. I think you got to go with Jimmy Butler, only for the reason I love Klay Thompson. Of course, who says the injuries happen if he's on a new team? But Jimmy Butler has shown us he's the best player on a team that almost won a championship. And to go against the greatest player of our generation, LeBron James, and lose in 6 games, willing the team to victory, which this team just fell short recently in the playoffs, losing in 4 games to the Bucks. I think you got to go with Butler. I think his defense alongside Gordon Hayward, his ability to create his own shot, something that I think Klay Thompson really benefits from a guy like Curry. And I feel like it would be harder for him to work in Utah than it would for Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler's just got that dog mentality. I think they need someone like that. Reminds me, kind of like that what Donovan Mitchell is for them, just a dog out there in the court. So I'm taking Butler. I think it's a really close pick, but now the Cavs more likely going to end up with Klay and Kawhi in this stacked draft class.
Yeah, I like I think Jimmy, like you said, he's got like a higher ceiling because he's like the best team on a almost championship team. But I think Klay is like fits in a lot more places. I think Jimmy, it's really tough. Like he really has to like be in that right fit because Minnesota obviously didn't work. Bulls didn't work near the tail end. But more leeway with Klay, but a higher ceiling for sure with Jimmy. So yeah, Jimmy going to Utah, and then next pick, Jose, you got Cleveland's next pick, right?
Yep.
All right, who you taking?
Yeah, Cleveland again. At this point, they still don't have a starting point guard, so because they obviously didn't draft Kyrie Irving. So for the best point guard available, I'm going for a guy who had a crazy tournament out of UConn, Kemba Walker. It's got to be done. How much better does Kemba fit in Cleveland than Kyrie? And imagine Kemba next to Kawhi if they do go these 2 picks.
I understand. I mean, I can't judge you. I mean, honestly, in the draft, it would make sense if someone like Kemba went there to begin with because he was just disgusting. I mean, honestly, they ended up with Kyrie, but Kyrie did well there. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't think Klay Thompson, they need a guy that can handle the ball. And I think Kemba Walker gets a little overhated, but for him to not, have to be that number one option, I think he could do just fine. I think Kawhi and Kemba would be better than Kevin Love and Kyrie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, Kemba was like a multi-time All-Star on the Hornets, getting like the 12th seed every season, just putting up empty stats. So I mean, I think on a Cleveland team that at this point had no prospect of really competing, I think he would have shined. Again, he would have just got so many touches.
Kemba, Kawhi, and LeBron. I like that. All right, well, I would gladly take Klay Thompson with the 5th pick. I mean, yeah, go. Okay, so we got Toronto with the 5th pick. They took Jonas Valanciunas, which he'll be coming up, and probably a few picks. But yeah, I mean, I'll take Klay. I mean, resume speaks for itself. Him and DeRozan, probably slide DeRozan over to the 3. They'll end up trading for Kyle Lowry later next season, and. Yeah, I mean, you got Kyle Lowry, Klay, DeRozan, end up finding a center like Valanciunas. And, who knows? Maybe LeBronto doesn't happen this season or something with Klay. But, yeah, I got to take Klay here if he's still on the board. I get the Kemba fit with Cleveland, kind of like taking over that Kyrie role. But, I got to take Klay as the next best player on the board. So,
yeah. But does Klay develop as well? Not next to Curry. If he's not getting those open looks.
No, probably not. He doesn't hit like what he hit. I mean, he's still going to be like a really good player. You can't that shooting translates everywhere. But, you're right. I don't think he turns into like the, like crazy amount of all-stars maybe. He's still probably, like 80, 85% of, what he was in Golden State. Because that's like, you talk about like best case scenario, worst case scenario, like that was 100% the best case scenario for Klay landing with Golden State.
Yeah,
couldn't happen. His career couldn't happen like gone any better, but he still would have been like fantastic.
DeMar is still a Raptor though. You got to remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't care. I'll move DeMar to 3.
Okay, so you have that Kyle Lowry, Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan team without a Jonas Valanciunas. Now they get a different center. Do they have a better shot at going against a team like Cleveland in the playoff that just ruined them for years? Do they even have a chance?
Well, I mean,
they'll get closer. They'll maybe snag a game or 2 against LeBron instead of getting swept.
Let's see it this way, because obviously we're doing the redraft here. So it would be Kawhi and LeBron versus Klay, DeRozan, and Lowry.
Nah, no chance.
Yeah.
Well, when you put it like that, no.
Yeah. And no, wait. Who's the other guy you just picked too? Kemba. Yeah.
Yeah. No chance.
Yeah. Yes, it would have gone the same. But if we're taking them against like the actual Cavs team, I'll give them an extra game or 2. They'll make it a little bit spicier.
This is why this is the NBA redraft world of what if.
Yeah, this is like Marvel's like what if show, but like NBA version.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we got Klay going 5th to the Toronto. Next, we got Washington picking 6th. They took John Vesely, which this is an interesting pick too, because I mean they got John Wall the year before, they got Beal the year after, and I mean there's still a lot of quality players that they could have gotten here at 6 and formed a nice trio in Washington, instead of just having those 2 guys and a bunch of solid role guys. They really could have picked up really solid 3rd option here for those 2 guys. So yeah, who's the pick going to be?
Yeah, so I think what they need here is a guy who's one of the more underrated players in the league. He just got himself traded to the Bulls in real life. I think Nikola Vucevic fits perfectly for this team to give a role guy for John Wall. Looking at the state of the roster at this point in 2011 at the draft, Gilbert Arenas had just been traded during the season to the Orlando Magic, ending the Gilbert Arenas era in Washington. Nick Young was their leading scorer this season, a guy who had a lot of promise at the time. Honestly, I don't think there's a guard worthy of picking at the board right now. Otherwise, for centers, we got JaVale McGee, a young guy, Andre Blosh, who's still pretty decent. But I think with what we know, the knowledge, a guy like Vucevic who can average, 20, 12, and 4, I think you got to take him here. I think, hopefully it still allows you to get a guy like Bradley Beal later in the draft. But I think Nikola Vucevic out of USC has to be the pick here.
Yep. Consistent for super long. He's had his best season this season. So, you're getting that longevity with Vucevic. Yeah, it's been like one of the most underrated players of the last 10 years. So, yeah, I like the pick. Next up, your team, Jose, the Sacramento Kings, who seem to mess up basically almost every draft pick this whole decade.
Yep. I mean, originally we traded the pick to Charlotte, but we drafted Bismack and then eventually got Jimmer. But I think at this point, obviously, we still have Tyreek Evans, who's like our star point guard still. And we still have DeMar. So we just need another, scorer, defender type guy that can, play off ball. So I'm going with a pretty complete scorer, a guy that was, mediocre early on in his career, but developed kind of a late bloomer. That is Mr. Tobias Harris, a.k.a. J. Cole. He's developed into a really well-rounded scorer, a guy that would definitely be the best player on our team even today. And I think would have fit pretty nicely in our scheme at the time with Tyreek, him, and Boogie, and whoever else we had, Rudy Gay or something.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys got Rudy Gay a couple seasons later.
From Toronto.
Yeah, 2014 or so. Okay, nice. So going with Tobias, really solid pick. I mean, took him a while, but I mean, that's someone he can fit in anywhere. I mean, he literally did. I mean, he's been on 5
everywhere.
teams now. Yeah, he's been on low-key a lot of teams.
From the Magic to the Pistons to the Clippers to the where he at now? Philly?
Yeah, Philly.
Yeah. He played super well this last playoff series.
And he got paid.
Yeah, we paid.
Playoffs with that team?
Nah. West is too stacked.
True.
Okay, so I got the 8th pick with Detroit. They took Brandon Knight. The fail god himself. I mean, his fail compilation is legendary. Getting dunked on across. It's insane. But actually, had some decent moments in the pros. So Detroit. I mean, lackluster. They've been a poverty franchise for a while now. So I'm just gonna take the best available. And I mean, Bojan is very tempting because, he's getting buckets on the Jazz now. Valanciunas, is playing his best basketball. But, I want to get someone that had the highest peak out of any of these guys. So I'm going to go with IT. I mean, this guy, kind of like Gilbert Arenas 2.0, where, didn't play as much, showed flashes, his first few seasons, and then, had really, a 2 to 3, or really, let's see, 2 years. A 2-year stretch of, all-star, just getting buckets. I mean, this guy almost, practically averaged 30 points a game on number 1 seed. I mean, one of the weaker number 1 seeds ever, but I mean, let alone, I mean, made it to the conference finals. And this guy was just getting buckets, man. I mean, he took the league by storm for 2 seasons. So I think I'd rather have that peak version of IT. And with, a few really solid seasons before that. I mean, he was 20 points in 2013, 16, 15, and then 19 in 2014 before he blew up to hit 22 points. And then his 2016-17 season was crazy, 28.9 points. So I'd rather have that peak and, just, get some excitement going in Detroit. I feel like they've really been missing out on that for a while now. And, out of all the guys left, I mean, maybe not the most longevity, but definitely the highest peak by far. So I'm going to go with IT.
And I think just to add on to it, like you're saying, from his 2013-14 season to 2016-17, where he had that crazy MVP season, he was averaging 22 a game, 6 assists, 36 from 3. Solid guy. Like you said, absolute fourth quarter legend for the Boston Celtics. I mean, a super fan favorite. And they haven't had anything flashy. We thought Blake Griffin was going to be that for the Pistons, but he wasn't. I mean,
Yeah,
Tobias
they got him
Harris
too
ended up
late.
being the
Yeah.
better player in the long run. But I don't think you can argue with this pick. I think Valanciunas makes more sense long term, but Valanciunas is just going to be a better version of Andre Drummond, and Andre Drummond just got rebounds. That's really all he did.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you just got to go with IT's peak and much more, more box office than Valanciunas. But I do love Valanciunas' longevity though. So that was kind of close, but yeah, I got to go with IT. So yeah, okay. So we got the 9th pick with Charlotte. This is where Kemba actually went. The 9th pick. So this is you, Liam. Who are you taking? You're in the MJ role. You're in the MJ seat right now.
Exactly. So, I have in my notes, Kemba's going to be off the board, and he is. So, I think you got to look for the best available big man or wing. So I think Valanciunas has fallen into my lap here. Al Jefferson is not on the team yet, and he was going to be, but you're really not going to get a guy that is going to. I think Brandon Knight is the closest player you could get to Kemba Walker at this point. I think Brandon Knight's very underrated for his play. Let's look at his stats when he was with the Suns, averaging 17 points per game in Milwaukee, and then 19.6 with the Suns in 2015-16. Unfortunately, though, I just got to go with the pick here. I'm taking Jonas Valanciunas, a guy who I wrote down as one of the more underrated NBA players in the league, averaging about 17-11 and is crucial.
Who's getting better. This is one of his best seasons, arguably his best season this year.
Definitely his best season, 100%. But, just absolute awesome play from him. Super crucial with Memphis team. So I'm taking Jonas Valanciunas. Where was he out at international at the time?
Lithuania.
Yeah, international. So, yeah, Jonas Valanciunas pick.
Nice. Solid.
Okay, so Valanciunas off the board. Okay, next pick, we got the 10th pick with Milwaukee, who ended up choosing Jimmer. How did that work? So you said Sack traded the pick to the Hornets, or I guess the Bobcats at the time, and then Milwaukee was in there too?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, it might have been a 3-way deal. So Sacramento swapped with Charlotte, and then Milwaukee traded the 10th pick to Sacramento.
Got you. Okay, so yeah, Jimmer goes 10 to Milwaukee. So this is your pick. We're 2 years away from Giannis. With the Bucks, who I think they're still rolling with Bogut and Jennings, who they think is going to be their franchise duo. So yeah, who are you picking, Jose?
Yeah, at this point, my of star players is pretty limited. I think all the superstars are pretty much gone. There's a couple interesting names. A guy no longer in the league, but I think could still produce, that did end up playing for the Bucks, Nico Mirotic, but I don't really take him. There is Reggie Jackson, who's kind of garbo now, but at a certain point was a decent NBA player.
Hey, he had a nice game 5 though. He was getting buckets.
Yeah, 20 points, I think.
Yeah, but for the most part, he's been kind of garbo.
Tristan I don't think would be a good fit next to Giannis, but a guy who I do think would be a good fit next to Giannis, who's been a really good role player, had an underrated career, his whole career, was drafted after his twin brother, and that is Mr. Marcus Morris.
I hate him. I love him. I love the pick, but I hate him.
Yeah, solid.
He's annoying. He's annoying to play against because he's just annoyingly good.
You can't get enough 3-and-D guys. That's for sure.
Golden State.
Okay, so Marcus Morris is off the board. Okay, I got the next pick, Golden State. They obviously took, Klay Thompson here at 11. Let's see. Okay, so Morris is off the board. Okay, Bojan is interesting because Bojan is really, really good right now, but he didn't play. He missed his first 3 seasons. He was overplaying in Turkey. Yeah. So I kind of take that into consideration. Because, he would be coming into the Warriors 2013, 2014, right before we're about to get into our championship form. So that's pretty tempting. We would end up I mean,
he him now. Like you guys can definitely use him today.
I would love. Oh, for sure.
But we wouldn't start him over Draymond though.
He played the 3. I think he'd like him and like Barnes would like split time.
Yeah.
At least when like they were both like coming up. Because Bojan, like he didn't like it took him a couple years even like after Turkey.
Yeah.
I'm debating Tristan Thompson because he's like a big that like fits pretty well. Just gets rebounds, rim runs. But we're gonna make that trade. We're gonna make that Monte for Bogut trade. So considering we still make that, we get Bogut. I think I am gonna go ahead and say Bojan. I mean, takes 3 years, but we get to 2013, 2014. We got Curry, we got Bogut, no Klay sadly, but we got HB, Draymond. David Lee, who was still really solid back then. And, pair that with Bojan, a sniper. I think still, obviously probably not getting the championship, but I think still, because we're missing Klay, but still really, really solid squad, probably going deep in the playoffs. And, I'm going to go with Bojan here. And especially because, he's only going to get better with age, growing with the Warriors. And then, and KD come. Who knows if he'd come without Klay, but still, I think I got to go with Bojan. He fits right in with the Warriors. So
yeah, it's a solid pick.
It's just tough. You missed those first 3 years, man.
Yeah.
Oh. But I think the Warriors can afford to wait because we were taking our lumps.
I think he would have developed just fine without him, and then he can just come in and kind of find his role, whichever.
Exactly, yeah. So I think you got to take Bojan because he has a much higher peak than any of the guys left. Tristan Thompson was a starting center on a championship team. That really entices me. So I was tempted, but if Bojan's still on, then I got to go with
Whenever I think about Thompson's career, the peak of his career was being on that NBA Finals poster. It's like KD, Curry, Klay.
And then him, LeBron, and Dellavedova. Yeah. Okay, so Bojan's off the board. Next pick, Utah again. Getting their second lottery pick. Yeah, really interesting with Utah too. I mean, they got 2 lottery picks. They already had Gordon. Rudy Gobert is coming in a couple seasons. And then they already got Jimmy Butler. So I mean, you're looking at their team in 2015, 16. I mean, you got still All-Star Hayward, Jimmy Butler, Gobert. And then whoever you're about to take right now, Liam, really solid squad. Solid squad.
So I think if Jose's looking at the document right now, he sees who I already picked. But I really had faith in this guy. I literally just talked about him a second ago. I think they take Brandon Knight. I think they need a point guard on this team. Devin Harris, was on the team, but by 2013, their starting point guard was Mo Williams. So I think like they didn't really have a solidified point guard, during the Gordon Hayward peak. Didn't really have a solidified dude out there. Like Raul Neto was playing for them sometimes until they got Mike Conley. But I think the fill-in for the time being, because during the stretch where they would need him, Brandon Knight was a super good scorer. And I think if he could develop to play in that third role, and, really injuries is really what derailed his career. I think he still would have been like a 12-point per game bench player, doing really solid in the NBA today. So I'm picking Brandon Knight out of Kentucky. Like I said, had a 20-point per game season nearly with the Suns back in the day. So I'll take Brandon Knight.
This is a solid pick. By the way, they took Alec Burks with the actual pick. Knicks legend.
Playoff.
Yeah, Knight, that's solid. Yeah, Knight, besides all the posters and stuff, Knight was a really solid scorer.
Yeah.
Okay, so Knight's off the board going to Utah. I'm just gonna run through all the picks real quick. We have 2 more picks. So we got Kawhi going number 1, and then Kyrie 2, Jimmy Butler 3, Kemba 4, Klay 5, Vucevic 6, Tobias Harris 7, Isaiah Thomas 8, Valanciunas 9, Marcus Morris 10, Bojan Bogdanovic 11, and then Brandon Knight 12 going to Utah. So Jose, you got the next pick. You got the Suns, another team that basically besides Booker and Ayton seemed to mess up every lottery pick they had this decade, which is really tragic because they really could have had something special too. So I guess they have something special now, but something special much earlier. So yeah, Jose, the Suns at 13. Who are you gonna take? They took Markieff Morris with this pick, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, part of me low-key wants to take Markieff Morris again,
Yeah.
just because I think it's actually a pretty solid fit. I mean, this is like tail end of Steve Nash's prime. Suns team, Jared Dudley on here, Vince Carter's on here. Yeah, but they don't really have a center, and I think a guy that's been a pretty good, scorer and rebounder, even though he's a liability on defense. I think he's a solid player, and he provides a lot of character for the locker room. A guy that would have probably boosted this team at least in some ways. I'm sorry, Tristan Thompson, but I'm taking Enes Kanter. Yeah, pick 13 for the Suns. They didn't really have a good starting center. I mean, their starting center was Robin Lopez at this point, who's kind of similar to Enes Kanter in a way, but I think Enes Kanter is just a better version.
Hey, I mean, when he got traded from Utah to OKC back in 2014-15, he averaged 19 and 11 in 26 games. I think he's one of the best post scorers we have in the NBA, just his defensive liabilities so much, but who knows what happens there. I think it'd still be a great post scorer, but if there's a coach underneath him that could just, make his defense more viable, who knows?
Yeah. There's a lot of
I like this pick
on the board.
Yeah, Kanter's a bucket down low, man. Yeah, it just sucks that he's so terrible defensively. But yeah, I liked him on that Thunder team. I liked him even when he was on the Knicks too. Like, and then the Blazers stint too, like the first one with Lillard with the game winner. Yeah, Kanter's solid. Okay, I have the last pick. Let's see. So I have Houston, who took Marcus Morris here at the 14th pick. Houston's in a weird spot. They're getting Harden. They're getting Harden 2 seasons from now, 2012, 2013. Just a random roster. Luis Scola, on the team, he's their second leading scorer. Kevin Martin, Kyle Lowry's on this team. Dragic, Courtney Lee, Budinger, and Parsons. 2 relevant white guys of the first half of the 2010s. Just a weird squad. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm just going to kind of go for, like, best available. I mean,
there's one guy I'm not going to say it, but I hope you take this one guy.
Okay, Marcus. Honestly, okay. Well, there's a few guys I'm looking at. There's Mirotic, Reggie Jackson, Tristan Thompson, and then Markieff Morris. I'm probably going to – it's not – none of those guys are your guy?
No.
Really?
No. I'll get to it at the end, so it's fine.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna go with Markieff Morris. It's like a solid pick. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna expose him now. I'm not taking Chandler Parsons.
That's what I wanted. That's exactly.
I'm not taking Chandler Parsons.
He was good.
He was, but it's like Markieff has like been solid for a much longer time, and like Chandler was probably like better like than him at his peak, but he didn't last that much longer. Nah, that's fair. Parsons was solid. I'm gonna go with Markieff Morris. More longevity. And they took they took Marcus Morris, so they basically same pick.
Yeah,
they're the same person anyway.
Swapping at halftime anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, who got left off the board? Okay, so
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson got left off the board. Tristan Thompson got left off the board. There's
Kenneth
a lot of Kenneth Free. There's a lot of I remember him, guys.
Like Burks. Corey Joseph.
Norris Cole, great backup point guard. Honestly, wouldn't go. Mon Shumpert, super athletic. He was a 6-man candidate at one point, wasn't he? Or
did we say?
Never mind.
Dude, Shumpert was like a solid part of those that Cavs team.
Love Shumpert.
Mirotic didn't go. Burks,
Monte Eunice.
A lot of decent guys. I mean, Bismack Biyombo's solid. I mean, he probably goes later in the first. But.
Yeah, he's still in the league. That's our last. We're only going to 14, but this is a really really solid draft. Like this is like one of the best drafts of like the 2010s for sure. The top is like really incredible. I mean, like, Kawhi, Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Kemba, and Klay, like all like, multi-time all-stars, all NBA championship winners, really solid top five. And then you go down and it's like really solid, like borderline kind of all-star guy, that next group of like Vucevic, Harris, IT, Valanciunas, and then the next tier is like, really, really solid role guys that are like, still doing their thing today. So yeah, this is a really good draft.
We're going to be scrapping for players next draft. I tell you that.
Yeah, next draft, very top heavy, a little smaller at the top than this draft. And then it falls off pretty heavy. And then, oh God, I'm not looking forward to 2013. That's going to suck. But that concludes it for our 2011 NBA redraft. We hope you guys like this one. We're just gonna go through the decade. Real quick, the Lakers is 94-80 Suns. Booker has 43 points on 14 of 20 shooting and 8 of 9 from three. Completely backpacking. Their next highest scorer is Crowder with 12. Dude, Booker, he wants it so bad, bro. It's like dope to see.
This will come out after the game's already happened, but like LeBron losing in the first round, there's gonna be so many storylines for next season. That's all I gotta say.
Hey man, they only down 12, 8 minutes left.
Kuzma got a solid 2 points.
I hate that man of my entire life.
Dude.
I would be pretty shocked. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it because it's it's LeBron, but also, I mean, the Suns have been kicking their ass all game. It'd be like
it's overs. It's overs. There's no way. Not without AD.
All right.
AD only played 5 minutes. That's sad. But yeah, that's it for the episode. We'll see you guys on Sunday with another Sunday talk. And who knows, we might give you another redraft. We might not. You just gotta stay tuned. So.
All right.
Peace, you guys.